Brigadier, let's go to the transcript record, Doctor, of the 8th of September, 2023. My Lord, I would like to put questions to the witness regarding the Exhibit AA. Exhibit AA is the statement of Constable SS Zungu, my Lord, which was read into the record by Mr. Ramsipile during cross-examination, my Lord, on this date. Brigadier, I'm going to take you through the evidence of Constable Zungu, wherein it refers to your name
Yes, I'm listening, my lord.
and as well as your involvement in this case.
I'm listening, my lord.
You testified that you were appointed as the investigating officers of this case in 2019.
No,
In 20
I said 2018, my lord.
2018.
Thank you, my Lord. 12 November 2018.
Correct.
And-
Better than you guys. Funny.
And it was yourself, Warrant Officer Makhubo, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, and who was the fourth one?
Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala.
Ramohal.
And then in addition, then I said the custodian of the case, my lord, was the cold case unit, which then brought in then Sergeant Mukhola and Mohane.
Okay. For how long did you investigate together this case, the four of you who were appointed to investigate this matter? The four of you, for how long did you work together, if you ever worked? If you can just clarify that aspect for me.
It wasn't long, my lord, because by January 2019, when docket 375 was registered, the differences were there. So the cracks happened right at the beginning. As I've said, when we had to analyze and come with a view as to what happened, we differed from there, so things just didn't kick off on the right direction, my lord. But there were times when we engaged together, but it just went off, and then subsequently the docket 375 in January of 2019 was then registered, so things were worse by that time, my lord.
So as a result of the differences between the four of you, you then splitted, or you were then splitted?
Don't know English.
You
Your
don't know.
spirit is half naked.
You hesitate, Span, and I hesitate. If you hesitate, I go back.
We all once hesitate.
And
So, since we are a non-biased channel, yes, I know. I know there's others who are going to come and say, no, I oppose that motion. But since we are a non-biased commentary channel, what is good for the goose is also definitely good for the gander. So I must comment on Mshololo's use of the word splitted twice. So correction, my lord, it is not splitted, it is actually split. So you split and split, either present or past tense. So that's just a quick word, okay, to help out in case anybody is confused. I mean, yesterday we did, pinpoint when Gininda said, couldn't say shuttle, and he says shuckle. So yeah, I think there's tongue twisters when it comes to the letter S and L and Zulu. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just wanted to highlight that as well. We are not a bias. We follow the evidence, my lord, okay? So also I want to talk about, let's talk about being fair. Gininda is a very interesting guy. I like that he was honest with how the splitted session happened, okay? They split because, come on, from the Gininda that we have had to listen to from an entire month on the stand, imagine having to work with him on a one-on-one basis. I have said personally on this channel that I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, work with someone who talks this much. So he says, oh, we didn't work together for long. Okay, I love his honesty. Okay, he says, oh no, we didn't work together for long. The docket 375 was registered January 2019. Okay, so the cracks happened right at the beginning. Let me know in the comment section down below, why do you think the cracks happened? He says it's because they differed on how things happened inside there by the Spaza house, whether they were intruders or whether, you know, those guys inside the house, Pagat, you know what really happened to Senzo, and that there were no intruders. And that was what the split was about. But then from there were times where we did engage, he says, okay, a few times, but it just went off and off from there. Subsequently, okay, the docket 375 was registered and things were worse by that time. I can only imagine what it was like. And then he mentioned something that stood out to me. He said, you know, it was the four of them who were appointed, and because the custodian of the case is the cold case unit, okay, therefore he inherited as well Sergeant Mohane and Sergeant Makhola. Is it because they're sergeants that they were therefore able to work together? Because, you know, he's a brigadier and they're sergeants. Is that where the split was in regards to the warrant officers and Lieutenant Colonel why did I want to say Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi? Was it a battle of course the brigadier is the higher ranked, but do you think that it was a difficult thing for, you know, people to work together because of their rankings? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section, because it looks like after Sergeant Makhola and Sergeant Mohane came on board, there was no splitation. Everything seems to work fine. Everything is copacetic. They don't know any answers when they came to court. And, you know, Sergeant Makhola is seen seated inside the courtroom. So let me know your thoughts on that. But let's get back to where Mshololo is taking us. Okay, she's taking us on a very interesting journey. She's opened up the conversation of 375. Let's go.
We move apart, my lord. There was no directive. As a lead investigator, I never said they must stop reporting to me. They just decided not to report. And then that is why I said, even when a senior officer was appointed, this Brigadier Perumal, where he wanted to get both dockets so that he can advise the National Commission, I gave him this docket. There was a refusal on the other side. So it was a situation that I didn't have control on. So we just moved apart completely, my lord, up to today.
And the differences were about the evidence in this case.
Yeah, so I'll sum it up like this, my lord, to say it was about whether they were intruders or no intruders. That's the part I dealt with. That based on the evidence that was contained in the docket, I was of the view that they were intruders, and then the other two members were of the view that they were no intruders.
At the time when you split it, I'll take it that this team of yours only survived for 4 months, November, December, January, February, up to March, wherein you split it of the following year.
My lord, there was no official splitting. As I said, there was no time where it was said on this date we must go a separate way. All I'm saying is that 12th November we get appointed, 2018. The first exercise is that we must read and analyze the docket. The difference starts there. But I'm saying now in 2019, when docket, in January, not even 4 months, just in January, when this docket 375 was read, because I was not even informed that it would be registered. I came to know about it from DPP Johannesburg, and I know that part of the things, that's why I said things got worse, because part of the assertions when I heard from DPP Johannesburg, it was making allegations that there is a statement of Mr. Thope, which I apparently took and I did not place in the docket, which was completely untrue and incorrect, because the statement was in the docket and it has been in the docket, and it was not even the first statement, it was the fourth one. So that part was not accurate. So that's why I'm saying from January, my lord, 2019, things, you know, just 10, but there's no specific date where any management, or even from me, where we said from today we are not going to work together. We just went apart all the way, man.
Okay. So Brigadier, amongst the four of you as the investigating officers, who was in possession of the police docket of this case 636 that you are dealing with?
It was me, my lord. I was the custodian of it, insofar as the original docket, but the copies were made. I allowed the members right at the beginning to make copies of the entire docket so that each of us can analyze, come back. The intention, my lord, was that when we come back with an understanding as to what transpired on the crime scene, out of that, then, my lord, then an investigation plan then would have been drafted and would have obviously followed, guided by evidence, not anything else. So the original, me as the lead investigating officer, I retained the original docket, and the members were then made copies out of the original, my lord. At some stage, my lord, I think in January in particular, 2019, because I know when this allegation of 375 of a statement came up, the original docket at that stage was sitting at the DPP's office in Johannesburg, because they wanted it for, you know, for instructions, because DPP Joburg was involved. So at that stage, the original docket was sitting at the DPP.
Kodwa-ke ngoJanuwari ka-2019 ke i-original ke docket leli ke yayi kuma-ofisi ke abashutshisi i-DPP eJohannesburg.
Sorry, I didn't get you clear, Brigadier. What was the docket doing in DPP's Johannesburg?
My Lord, DPP Johannesburg was seized with this matter from its inception. In other words, from 2014, after the incident happened, it was escalated. This before my time, but you can see that in the chain of communication. So DPP Johannesburg was dealing with this matter. When I was appointed to lead this team, we were appointed while the prosecutor's side was Johannesburg DPP. They were already on board. It was at a later stage where the NDPP gave a directive that it must now be moved from Johannesburg DPP to Pretoria DPP. That is why in around January 2019, the docket, the original, was sitting at DPP with the prosecutors. I think it was Advocate Dutoit was one of the prosecutors who was involved. An advocate market. What's the other name that I didn't hear the name that Advocate Mshololo mentioned?
Zagwe?
Zagwe.
Yes.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember. There was a dead advocate, but I don't think it was Zagwe, my lord.
But obviously the DPP also, Advocate Chauke was also working with you.
The DPP got involved, my lord, insofar as when there were these differences and the appointment of Brigadier Perumal. Not that he was actively involved. He's the DPP. He was coordinating, especially when there were these differences, to say he also supports the view, but from the management side, that perhaps there must be a coordinator who can read and advise the National Commission as to these two dockets, because that's my recollection when he was on board, but not that he was actively involved giving instructions. Advocate Dutoit was the most senior person, followed by Advocate Market, and there was this other third advocate. I just forgot his name, my lord.
So in other words, there was a conflict regarding this case at that particular time.
There was no conflict, my lord. The docket from 2014 has been very clear. If you read the evidence that is there, that they were intruders, you simply have to look at the evidence, follow the evidence, analyze it. So I do not know as to what informed the other members that there were no intruders, because if you read the docket as I've explained it, my lord, when you analyze it, that's what you will find today. And what I've said today is what was contained in 2014 when this matter took place, my lord.
Okay, thank you, Brigadier. At that point in time, February or March, when you say at the opening of the second docket, and when there was a separation, I don't know whether I should say it's a separation or it's going different ways with the other two investigating officer. At that time, when you separated, was there any evidence against the accused that are before court at that point in time?
No, there was no. So let's start perhaps with the date, my lord, in which 375 was opened. It was opened in January 2019. Okay. I just don't know the date, but it was January 2019. 2019. Yes. Secondly, at that time, when this 375 docket was opened, there was no evidence in the docket insofar as these accused are concerned or anyone. We were still investigating, my lord.
Okay. In respect of this docket now, 636. Was there any evidence against the accused before this court at that time?
Yeah, so perhaps maybe my answer was not clear, my lord. When I said there was no evidence, I was relating to 636 because docket 375, I never had access to it. When I said I heard about it, I heard it from the grapevine. The first time I saw it, my lord, as I indicated, seeing the file, it was in 2019 at the office of the DPP in Pretoria, not necessarily reading it, but seeing the file when we met, myself, Brigadier Perumal, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi and Makhubo at Advocate Baloyi's office. That's where I saw the file, the docket itself. But where I had an opportunity to go through it, it was after it was disclosed in this court at the request of the defense. So I did not have access to that docket. The evidence I'm referring to in relation to this accused is insofar as docket 636 of 10/2014.
So at that time, there was no evidence against the accused before this court?
Yes, insofar as this docket, my lord, this one that is before court, no, there was nothing.
Wow. So am I understanding this correctly? In 2018, when the brigadier was appointed on the 12th of November 2018, there was no evidence against the 5 accused before the court plus Kelly Kumalo, suspect 0. And then Makhubo, Warrant Officer Makhubo and Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, they filed docket 375 because it's not working over there in the cold case unit. The investigations are not aligning. Everybody's not agreeing on the intruder theory. And I'm going to put that in quotations. And then they opened docket 375. And Mshololo specifically asked him, okay, so at that time in January 2019, there was no evidence against the 5 accused. And the brigadier says yes. So work with me here, guys. So from the inception of 375, suddenly, conveniently, magically, there's evidence built, there's a storyline, there's a Zungu family, there's a father, there's a son, and there's the Holy Ghost, okay? We'll figure out yet later who the Holy Ghost is. But there's the Father, there's the Son, and then there's the Holy Ghost. And then the lead investigator then finds these other Kwabinis and Makosonkes, and then they're at the Basutini hostel. And then now there's evidence against the 5 accused, and then Musi Sivia is arrested, then accused number 2, 3, 4, and 5. But never, Kelly Khumalo has never been arrested, but her J50 application was done. No, it wasn't done. It was requested, and then the prosecutorially led investigation refused to move forward with that at that time. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? So between 2014, 26th of October 2014, all the way up to November 12th, 2018, there was nothing. It was quiet. It was dead silence, except for Uzamogu Lembata, who was falsely accused. And then suddenly, magically, there was some sprinkled dust, and then now there's 5 people accused, and they're now before the court. Let me know your thoughts on that. I think Mshololo might have hit a huge one with this one. Let's continue listening on and hear where else she takes it.
You guys, maybe it's because I'm particular with English. When you say there was no evidence, do you hear yourself? The rights annotation should be at that stage, no evidence was discovered against any person. There was always evidence on the 26th of October 2014, after SENZO was killed. There was evidence. When it was discovered, that's what's critical. That's how I understand the language.
That's the court's business.
Understood.
You think I'm wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong, my lord.
Yeah. It's like Jesus Christ.
It's the matter of
They say
interpretation.
he went up on the 3rd day. And you hear this after 20 years.
But I think the
Doesn't
witness,
change the initial.
but I think the witness was able to understand the question.
Yeah, but he's understanding it wrongly because you are saying there was no evidence. It's not true. As from the 26th of October 2014, after SENZO was killed or murdered, there was evidence. Whether it was discovered or not, that's another story.
My lord, I think let's leave it there for argument.
Yes,
Let's leave it there for argument, my lord. Someone will understand it better. Let's proceed, Brigadier. Now, you have separated. And had the statement of Constable Zungu been obtained at that particular time? If I understand from the evidence, it had not yet.
No, it has not been obtained, my lord.
Okay. If we go into the record, because Constable Zungu testified that he approached General Lishabane. You were not there, that's why I'm narrating, Brigadier,
Yes,
you
my
understand? Yes, you were not there. And then when he approached General Lishabane, the evidence is contained in this record. General Lishabane then called Warrant Officer Makhubo, okay, to come and meet with Constable Zungu. Sorry, my lord, can I just double check the line? If we can go, just go on page 57 of the transcript record dated 8/9/2023, page 57, line number 16.
Yes, my lord, I'm here. I am on page 57.
Page 57. Line number 16 starts with General Lishabane after 30 minutes. You see that sentence?
Yes, I see it.
General Shabane shared the information with him, and Makhubo refuted the information and told us that I am lying and that there is no such information and evidence that link Nkane, that is Fiso Kuhle Ntuli. He disputed everything I shared with them and said that I must reveal my source.
I'm listening, my lord.
Warrant Officer Makhubo showed us a picture of Nkani and said he arrested Nkani on other matters in KwaZulu-Natal and that Nkani is not involved in the murder of SENZO MEYIWA as well as other suspects I have mentioned. He further accused me of coming to them with baseless information. He kept on insisting that I reveal my source and bring him. Dear, I understand you were not here. You were not part of this conversation. And also you were not in court when Constable Zungu testified. But my question to you from what I read here is that during the conversation between General Shabane and Warrant Officer Makhubo, at this time when they met, Makhubo demanded from Constable Zungu to give him a source, and Constable Zungu did not give him the source of the information he related to them.
I suppose, my lord, the record speaks for itself, so I'm not so sure how. What can I say, my lord? The advocate Mshololo is saying I was not here, so and I was not part of that meeting, so I don't know what to say about it.
Colonel, if I was not clear, actually what I wanted to put to your attention is that when Zungu was asked to reveal the source of his information before he met with you, he could not give the source to the police officers that he was talking with.
My lord, but if you look at this record, no, from what we've read, it doesn't indicate that it happened on the date before he met me. So I'm not sure how do we come to that conclusion that this meeting took place before he met me. What is apparently clear if you read this passage is that I was already the investigation team because I was already appointed because my name is being mentioned that Gininda, is one of the investigators, but a decision is taken to call Makhubo. So that means the team was already appointed. And I indicated in my evidence in chief that Constable Zungu came to the office of the National Commissioner earlier in the beginning of 2019, my lord, when I was called by the National Commissioner. And then that conversation between us in finding his father went on until we met in November. So I don't have a date here as to when did this meeting happen. What is clear is that I was already appointed as the lead investigating officer from the passage that has been read to me.
Okay, thank you for that, Colonel. I'll clarify that as we go through the record, the period or the date in which they met. But at some stage, General Shabane, Warrant Officer Makhubo met with Constable Zungu, and Constable Zungu was asked to reveal the source, and he could not.
My lord, that's why I'm saying the difficulty, I was not there. But in principle, and I'm talking about now the police practice, you never ask a police officer to reveal a source. A source is someone, I'm not so sure even myself, even if I'm asked by the National Commissioner, that you can reveal a source. A source, and I'm quoting it from where I'm being asked now. How do you reveal a source, my lord? How do you ask another police officer to reveal a source? Because a source, you protect that person, unless the person then wants to be revealed. But you don't reveal a source in natural practice of our investigations, my lord.
Thank you, Brigadier. Let's go down further on the same page, paragraph 14. It says, in the same year, I received a call from the lady who identified herself as Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, who said he was a forensic investigator in the murder of SENZO MEYIWA. The officer asked to meet me in relation to the information I gave to Warrant Officer Makhubo, and we agreed to meet at McDonald's Kempton Park. When we met, I realized that she was in the company of Warrant Officer Makhubo. She asked me to repeat the information that I have shared with Warrant Officer Makhubo, and I did. She further asked me about my relationship to the suspect, which I have explained. She also asked if I'm related and know Kelly Kumalo, and I told her I do not know her, nor I'm related to her, except for seeing her on social media. Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi accused me and General Shabane of trying to protect Ms. Kelly and shift the blame to the suspects I was mentioning. She told me that she has evidence that implicates Kelly in the murder and that shooter was one of those who were in the house. I disagreed with her based on the information I had and want discussions that we have no fruitful outcome. In other words, what I'm trying to bring to your attention, Brigadier, here is that the two investigating officers met with General Shabane and continued with involvement in this case to such an extent that they even interviewed or consulted with Constable Zungu, wherein they disputed the information that Constable Zungu gave to them.
My lord, so I'll start here with greatest respect to Advocate Mshololo. The portions that we read does not indicate that both members met General Shabane. You can only see insofar as Warrant Officer Makhubo meeting with General Shabane. Warrant Officer Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi and Warrant Officer Makhubo met Mr. Zungu alone. That's at least that's how I'm reading it, my lord. So
Yes,
that
you're
is
correct.
yes. So that is the first aspect, my lord.
The essence of my question is that the two investigating officers that we had been working with before, they also met with Constable Zungu and dismissed the evidence that was shared by Constable Zungu with them.
My lord, that's not how investigation is done. You don't dismiss evidence that is brought to you. You investigate, and the outcome of the investigation will give you the legal results. The correctly objective results will come out of the investigation. You cannot say when someone says this is a situation and based on your views, you simply say this is not true. Based on what? There must be an investigation, and then the outcome of the investigation will drive you to the right conclusion, my lord.
Okay, so in other words, these two police officers were wrong for rejecting the information of Constable Zungu.
No, my lord, see, I don't want to be dragged to casting aspersions. I'm simply saying the administration correct process. If allegations are made on a matter that you are investigating, someone comes forward to you as an investigating officer and says, I'm giving you this information. These are the possible suspects who are involved. You can't, without evidence, simply say we are dismissing those things. You have to investigate. Then based on the outcome of the investigation, you can then say this information is incorrect. But you cannot simply say, you cannot simply dismiss the information on the mere presentation of it to you.
Is it also correct that you were also called by General Shabane regarding the presence of Constable Zungu?
No. I was not called. I called him, my lord, when I was looking for Constable Zungu.
And did I get it correctly to say when you also firstly met with Constable Zungu, you also asked for the source?
No,
Oh, you didn't?
no. He told me, my lord, there was no name, there was no mentioning of a source. He told me the information is coming from his father. And then I asked that he must then arrange his father to avail himself. And so there was no, the source never existed between my interaction with Constable Zungu.
This is so interesting. I almost forgot to give my commentary. So Constable Zungu met with Buthelezi and Makhubo first before meeting with Gininda, and that's on the record, right? We don't know behind the scenes what possibly might have happened, allegedly, okay? So he met with General Shabane, Makhubo, and then from there Makhubo said, oh my goodness, you're talking nonsense, okay? This is nonsense. Arrested Unkani being accused number 5 of Ntuli. So what do you mean he was at Buthelezi, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then they move on. Buthelezi, I'm guessing Makhubo told Buthelezi said, let me hear this myself. Let's meet Zungu. Zungu said, sure, McDonald's it is. They meet and surprise, Makhubo is also there. They have the meeting. He repeats what he said, okay, with his chest. He's so confident with his story. And then, again, they disputed. And then, Zungu really needed somebody to believe his story. And then he arranges another meeting. No, this is where Gininda says he called Lishabane and asked for Zungu's number and arranged a meeting with him. But when Zungu is with Makhubo and Lishabane, he says the father is a source. He doesn't say father, he says my source. He refuses to reveal his source. But somehow, with Brigadier Gininda, he's very comfortable to reveal his source. Make it make sense. Why with Gininda he was comfortable, but not with the others who were investigating? And I like that Mshololo put it that way. That no, they didn't quit on the case. They continued on the case. But there's one similarity between Gininda and Makhubo and Buthelez's docket is that Kelly Kumalo is the mastermind. Okay. But let's continue listening on and hear where else Mshololo takes us. This is so interesting.
How did you trust the information given by a police officer who had been sitting with the information from 2014 up to 2019 and not disclosing it to any of the police?
My lord, it's not a question of trust, it's a question of investigation. When information is given to you, you investigate. The outcome of the investigation will lead you to the truth, to the objective truth. You simply investigate, you will get to the proper outcome, my lord.
Walithemba kanjani ke manje noma ke iphoyisa ke eyahlezi ke nento ke eliyazi noma nolwazi ke kusukela ngayo u2014 kwayoshaya ke u2019 engatsheli umuntu. Lokho ke akuhlangeneke nokuthemba kodwa ke udaba nje lokuthi ke lokuphenya ukuthi ke lokho okutshelayo uyaphenya ke uphenyo yilona ke oluzokudalulela iqiniso.
My lord, can I ask that we adjourn for the day at this stage? I see that I misplaced my questions, my lord, and the records which I intended to use for this area of cross-examination. Can I ask, my lord, that we adjourn and I'll proceed on Monday?
Yes, Mr. Maloyi, what's the view?
As a court, please, my lord, we don't have objection to the request. But
The other councils?
as the court, I do not have any objections. Similarly, certainly not. Just
I mentioned something.
Yes, 2 days. So it means we come back on what, Wednesday?
Yes, but we can come back on Wednesday, my lord.
my lord, the term ends today. We made special arrangements to sit next week. Can we maybe adjourn to Monday, see what arrangements can be made for Monday?
It's not me saying that, he's the one. It says the sessions are on Monday and also Tuesday.
Yes.
So to say we must come here on Monday, it doesn't mean you won't be interviewing and making selections on Tuesday.
We'll see. We'll talk to Mr. Jonas to see if we can arrange for Mr. Ngobo, who usually.
As I'm
helps.
saying, I mentioned this to the defense. I was told that at this stage of the trial, it's a crucial one. They wouldn't appreciate another. I was told. I'm saying this on the record, madam.
Well, let's adjourn until Monday, and Mr. Ngobo can then be arranged. We can take it from there. But before we adjourn, my lord, we just want to hand out this exhibit ZZ7, the affidavit of Miss Yolanda Mwe. It's got two annexures, my lord. The affidavit itself is exhibit ZZ7 in brackets A. There's the her affidavit. Then there's a document setting out the personal details of the hirer. That will be exhibit ZZ7B. Then the last annexure, it's copies of the driver's license and bank cards. That will be exhibit ZZ7C.
So, Mr. Jonas, you say they said you have to finish this case. You, as the interpreter.
That is correct.
Hello?
Yes, my lord.
Who was telling you this?
I was having, okay, let me be specific. I was having a conversation with Advocate Mshololo, my lord, and then she said at this stage, it's a crucial stage, and then they wouldn't appreciate another interpreter because an interpreter would come without information of the case, and the flow will be disturbed, my lord. That's
My lord, if I can respond with that. I confirm, my lord, that I did discuss with Mr. Jonas, my lord, after receiving complaints from the accused, my lord, about the previous interpreter which I've related to Mr. Jonas and the problems of the interpretation that they couldn't understand. Let me speak on behalf of my client, my lord.
So what do we do on Monday?
My lord, we suggest that we adjourn to Monday and see what arrangements can be made, but we must proceed on Monday. We have to finish Brigadier Gininda before we adjourn next week.
Okay, let's meet on Monday then.
We have to finish Brigadier Gininda before we adjourn next week. Those are the words of Baloyi, and those words are very, very loaded for me. First of all, Baloyi, how do you know how long Mshololo is going to be? Secondly, how do you know how Ngomezulu is, how long he is going to be? Because one thing is for sure, he is coming back, okay, to the courtroom to do his cross-examination. Drop a 1 in the comment section if you are excited to welcome Ngomezulu back. Drop a 2 in the comment section to let me know if you think, okay, if you think Mshololo really misplaced her notes, or really drop a or really it was her indicating on behalf of everybody there, okay, the defense and the state, that listen, it is Friday, we want to go home. Okay, we want to go home at lunchtime and not wait for 3 o'clock. But drop a 2 if you think, no, she absolutely misplaced her notes. No way Mshololo would walk away in the middle of such a crucial part of her cross-examination. We're giving her the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so let me know in the comment section down below. I want to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload. And that is it. I'm checking out. But that's it from me today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you definitely on my next upload.